Everyone, so Heroscape here today with update number 17. Today's Friday, which means there's a special drop on Friday, and today's special drop has been guessed and theorized and projected by many, and we're seeing a common theme, and so I think we can confirm a couple things. So let's flip it around and see the concept art. Just before we do though, let's read up on this. The old unit was destroyed that day, protecting her, but found the greater purpose it was so desperately wanted. When the new unit came online, the smallest metal scrap of what remained of the old, all that could be found in the still smoking crater, was forged into its new construction, to honor its sacrifice and his love for her. Now, if you're watching, pause that and take your guesses, because I think it's pretty obvious at this point. Major Q10, this has got to be it. And it is awesome. Oh man. First off, Vidar symbol, so I think that gives us a pretty good clue. The number of rockets and miniguns on him, I think, is a bit of an indicator. Also the legs, I think, are an indicator. The leg design is very much like it is on the current Q10. Just look at this level of detail. I mean, man, he's got like a minigun in his arm, on his shoulder, a rocket on his shoulder, and a massive hammer. Oh man. And his head is just so crazy. The triple eye thing, I'm noticing the concept artists love the kind of scary triple eye thing with that owl the other day. This hammer is sick too. Oh, check this out. Back missile. Oh, okay. So yeah, look at this other concept art. So he's got some mini missiles and then a back missile on this concept piece for behind him. And these look like earlier sketches over here. Oh, that's cool though. You see how he's got like a double minigun on that earlier sketch? So that's kind of cool. You can see how they came up with different ideas. Yeah, there's another earlier sketch. It looks like the most recent one is this kind of triple minigun there. That's pretty cool. So yeah, this is to me this is Q10 confirmed. And I mean, it just, first impressions, it looks like him. It looks like it would be him, remastered later in the war if he were to break down and get destroyed and then rebuilt. It's Vidar. I think there's indicators by his look and feel that make it, Q10. Now, what's interesting is that if he were rebuilt, would he be Q10 still? And I think that's something that would be really neat to theorize about and get your guys' opinion on, is would this be something entirely different? Would this be Q11, right? Or Q12? Or could this be an entirely new unit? Like in lore, like it would be technically Q10, but because it's rebuilt, maybe he's got a new name, right? Now, it does seem to indicate that it says, but found his greater purpose so desperately wanted. When the new unit came online, the smallest metal scrap of metal remained of the old. All that could be found in still smoking crater was forged into its new construction, to honor its sacrifice and his love for her. So it doesn't indicate that the memories stayed. It just says that as the tiniest scrap of metal from the old unit was forged into the new unit as a symbol or a showing of a sacrifice. So there's no indication that we actually have a unit with the memories and the personalities of Q10. And I want to cover actually the lore behind that to give some more context. In the compendium under Major Q10, it tells us some very important things here. Solborg from Alpha Prime, fights for Vidar, was chosen for the Southern Valhalla, the quest to the Swamplands. It says Q10 is a one-of-a-kind creature that is fast becoming one of Vidar's most capable death dealers. Although the hero is created of metal and power cells, it has developed a questioning soul under Vidar's leadership. So Major Q10 is one of the only units that was shown to display like a personality. And it says making it a caring, sorry, top left here, making it a caring warrior able to support and protect allies during a raging battle. Vidar is testing Major Q10 by sending the metal champion into the uncharted swamp. The war leader wants to see what the effects of jungle slime and tangling vines will do to the metal workings. As we go on, just says he's a death ball of attacking and fear to the enemies, blah, blah, blah. He has no point, he sees no point, Q10 himself sees no point in returning to Alpha Prime. Now this is interesting. He claims to be defective and must be destroyed to prevent subsequent units from inheriting his programming malfunction, Mercy. Okay? So I find that interesting that he himself, Q10, believed himself to be defective, right? And that in his own mind, in his own personality that he somehow developed, he found himself defective and that he would have to be destroyed eventually. Q10 led some forces to protect Ular's Q10 led an assault force to Ular's rescue. And here's the key here. Despite his hulking demeanor, he is capable of surprising tenderness as demonstrated when caring for young Shiori in the lands of Valkyrin. So, it is confirmed that he did have kind of a special sweet spot for Shiori. And so I think this does two things. It indicates, one, that this is confirmed Q10, and I think it also confirms that last week's reveal was Shiori. Now here's something that I think is also interesting. If we go and look at Shiori's bio, it says the same thing about Shiori, that she was on that mission as well, into the Swarm of the Morrow. She, uses her kunai daggers, as well as she knows how to use shuriken missiles. What's interesting, where is it? Oh, here we go. What's interesting here is that it says she was pulled out of Earth before her training was complete. Shuri's combat skills are vastly different from the other 4 heroes. So she was pulled out of Earth, but her training was incomplete. That's key. Okay, that's key because of what we learned about Shiori the other day. Additionally, if you come down here, you note that she basically left Einar. She was sick and tired of him, so she went and she ended up joining up with Jandar. She was captured by Thormoon and Kelda because she was stealing food from them. But then she ended up going with the party. And if we read over here, she went with the group into the southern swamps. Despite her skills, she was captured. And then it was the, Sergeant Drake, Raylan, and Q10 that staged a successful ambush at Montequa Ledge that led to her freedom. So, again, Q10's involved in this, but more importantly, Shiori, it mentions, was incomplete in her training. And in the bio from 2 weeks ago, where it talked about that unit, it said that, there was a massive amount of training, and Omnitsu had finally, received the training to become Omnitsu. And so I think what happened here, based off of this point here, that he was to honor his sacrifice and his love for her. I think that's key. So I think what that's insinuating is that there was some sort of conflict, some sort of battle, right, where Q10, is saving or protecting Shiori, and then Shiori, is so distraught by that because maybe she couldn't save him, or maybe he sacrificed himself because she was being stupid, or she was being, just unruly, or maybe she got captured again, whatever the case may be. I think it's possible that his love for her got through to her to the point where she then was motivated to complete her training, right? She was motivated to then become Omnitsu and become a scary fighting force. So I'm throwing that out there, and that's actually also been theorized on the Discord this morning. I was reading up on a bunch of comments, and I thought that was very close to what I agree with. I agree with that statement, and I think that's where we're at. Now, of course, would love to hear your theories, but I think that this release does confirm that we're going to be seeing Shiori. We already seen Sanla 2.0. I think that confirms Shiori 2.0, Q10 2.0. So we've got at least 3 heroes that have progressed through the battle of all time into a more combative, more fully trained version of themselves, just like we saw with Raylan and Sergeant Drake between Rise of the Valkyrie and Storm of the Morrow. Now, does this mean they're going to take, heroes all from the past and turning them into 2.0s or 3.0s? I don't know. I really don't know. I feel like that's probably going a little too far, if I'm being honest. I don't think it's reasonable to just go back and make 2.0s of all the original heroes. There's too many, and it doesn't make sense that all of them would survive through the ages. I think it makes sense to pick some of the most important ones or some of the most impactful ones, or as they're doing, pick the ones that have been focused on in the campaigns up to this point. So I think that totally makes sense that they've chosen who they've chosen. The question is if they're going to do Raylan and Sergeant Drake. Raylan 1.0 is so OP competitively. Then you have Raylan 2.0, which is actually very balanced. I really like Raylan 2.0, Raylan Storm of the Morrow. So a Raylan 3.0, I just don't know how you balance that, because she still has to give a defensive aura. And I don't think she can't be any worse than 2.0. So my guess or my assumption is that if they were to do a Raylan 3.0, they would actually make her more offensively minded, because you can see the progression from 1.0. You have Raylan, who's strictly defense, right? Almost no offensive use at all, right? So defense is, +2 defense, obviously in a range of 4, but you see her progression where she's able to extend her aura 6 spaces. Now it's only +1 defense, but her offensive output is substantially better with her ability to whirlwind and attack all adjacent figures. So if they were to do a 3.0, my thought would be you still probably do a defensive aura +1. You probably extend that aura to maybe 7 or 8 spaces. You increase her points, and then you somehow give her some sort of offensive output, like more so than Whirlwind. Maybe you increase her attack dice to 4. Maybe you give her a special attack instead. I'm not really sure, because, you can only do so much before that defensive buff plus offensive power makes her kind of hard to balance. So I'm not really sure. And the thing is for an aura ability like defense, how high do you want to go with the points, right? Raylan Storm of the Morrow is 120. I feel like that's pretty good. She could have been maybe more like 100 or 110. So a Raylan 3.0, I'm thinking, okay, maybe, we go up to 130. But you probably need some pretty strong offensive abilities to make it really worth that price point. That said, if it's a defensive aura +1 and they've extended that aura, because she's gained an ability and strength to be able to extend her aura, okay, then maybe it is worth the price bump just for something like that. So anyway, something to think about. Drake, I have no idea what they're going to do with him. Version 1 to version 2 is just so starkly different. 110 points to 170, and even though you're paying 170 for Drake 2.0, he is substantially better in his offensive output. Now, competitively, 1.0 is probably still a little bit more balanced because you're still getting a pretty solid hero for 110. But 2.0 is just, stats are insane. He can do some really cool stuff. So if they plan on doing both of those in a 3.0 version, I'm not really sure where you go with Drake. You just keep going up in price and give him more crazy abilities. I don't know. Why not? Sure, a 200-point Drake, come on, give it to me. Let's go, right? Let's see it. 130, 140-point Raylan, sure, why not, So anyway, that's my theory. I don't think they're going to go past Storm of the Morrow, meaning I don't think they're going to pull and redo heroes from any of the other sets. I think it makes a lot of sense that those are the focused heroes that have continued on into 3.0 versions or 2.0 versions and maybe 3.0 versions. That said, I'm not going to fault them if they do. If they do go back, great, you know, cool. Bring me more content. I'll be happy. And it's nostalgic, so why not? Anyway, I've been jabbering for a little too long this morning. Excited about this. This has a lot of, opportunity for them to do some really cool stuff with the old units to bring them back for us, and that's exciting. And so, yeah, would love to hear your theories, your thoughts on what they plan to do in the future. This gives us a lot of stuff to talk about. So thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next time.